Hi, it is Thursday evening. I don't know what the date is. I am in my kitchen. My kid put together my coffee bar, and you have no idea how happy I am about that. I have been working diligently in trying to put my house together, knowing cold weather is coming. There's a storm brewing, and I don't mean just with temperature and weather. And I always pay attention to my intuition, and I'm going to kind of move that around a little bit. I always pay attention to my intuition. I always pay attention to how I'm feeling. I always pay attention to, the temperament of my customers when I'm working. You get through the holidays and everybody's in a really good mood, and even the media, they kind of like lessen a little bit on what they are reporting or how they are reporting something. But as soon as the holiday is over and as soon as New Year's is done and we're into January, can we just get through a month of January without something catastrophic being seen? And that ups the anxiety in people, and the division that's already there. You think it's just about to go away, and then all of a sudden something happens, and then the media wants to play a little bit more on a situation to try to just keep that division going. I was telling one of my supervisors yesterday, I used to really, really be a political kind of person where I feel like I fought with the county executive and the county seat over mandates and things like that. And it very much took a toll. Very much took a toll on my relationship, because when you're constantly being fed things and that is the conversations that you were having with that other person, it's this build up and you just want to just explode. And so I'm saying to my supervisor yesterday, I used to be a very political type person, very much used to have a huge opinion on things. And don't get me wrong, I still have opinions on a lot of things, and I try not to be so judgy. But with this situation that has occurred in Minnesota, people listen to the police. If the police tell you to do something, just follow the law. That's common sense. Follow the law. Nobody wants a life lost. And I know we are going to be hearing more and more about that incident, which is rather upsetting. It really is. Just turn the news off, turn the media off, get all the politics stuff off of your feed. Facebook just sent me a message and just said, "Hey, we want your opinion on something. Can you take a survey?" I rarely use Facebook for anything anymore. On occasion, I will use TikTok. I appreciate scrolling through it more than anything. YouTube has become my main platform. But Facebook wanted to know, sorry, I'm like looking at my baker's rack thinking, what else can I do to make that more organized? But Facebook had said, what can we do to make your experience using us better? How do you feel about the way that your information is being given and how your information is being stored? Well, first of all, years back, I was banned off a marketplace because some Yahoo hacked all of my social medias, and on all platforms. Every single platform I was on, this person somehow or another got into my account. And I got everything back other than my marketplace. And as an artist, an entrepreneur, a small business owner, I lost thousands of dollars in revenue by not having marketplace. So my main concern with the survey was you will never get my full support because that situation that personally affected my business, the way I shop, the way I buy, they'll never have my respect until the situation is rectified and I am apologized to for them mishandling something that didn't have anything to do with me. So as our weather is changing, as we are seeing things, in the news, our temperaments are rising up. Along with the fact, the way businesses are being run right after Christmas, everybody's doing inventory, everybody is looking to see what their margins are, profit margins, what their staff is costing them, and business owners are really seeing where a lot of expenses are being wasted. We got the news yesterday. Our hours are all being cut at the restaurant. Typically I work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday night. Y'all know I was trying to give up my Sunday night. There's no love lost there because I can pick up at my second job in February because there was nothing on the books for January at the second job in the banquet industry. That industry has greatly changed, but the orders we got from the restaurant where I lend my hand, we are flip-flopping and I will be working only Tuesdays and Thursdays. I did make contact with the community college. They were all so happy, too happy to receive my letter of inquiry on teaching how to write a book, how, to write, understanding the who, the what, the why, the when, the where, and so on and so forth that it takes to put a book together. So I am putting that synopsis together and trying to finalize exactly how long I want that class, that course, because it will be a course through the continuing education, how long I want the course to run, how many hours am I going to be putting in, and how am I making it fit into my other jobs, because the grass doesn't grow under my feet, and I always usually have about 2-3 things going. But needing to put my house together. So, this is where I'm going with this. Since I know I'm going to have all kinds of downtime, I want to be doing more content creating. I'm trying to find certain brand deals that I can work with that are going to, boost a little bit of an income. You can't expect to make $1 million right off the bat. You just can't. You have to get in front of the right people. You have to be the right match. You have to check all the boxes that these brands are looking for. And because I love being in the kitchen and cooking and baking, being organized is a real big thing. So come along with me. And I have another 360 device in one of my carts. I get paid tomorrow. I need to pay some big bills for January, and then, it will help with my content creating the new things that I will be buying. But come along. I want to show you this thing because I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. It is a coffee bar. So I have a place for my coffee pot. It does have a plug behind it. Now, of course, there's no plug in, outlet in this wall. So, like any ingenuous woman, I have an extension cord, a heavy-duty one that's wrapped around to the back room because there's a really good outlet back there. I have my mixer here. I have all of my mixing bowls. Of course, all of my utensils that I will need. You know what was nice, and I'll show you in a second, I have counter space. When you live in a shoebox, there's no counter space. I want to be able to start to get some whole bean coffee. I have my grinder. I have my good set of knives. And then I bought paint, and I'm going to repaint everything, and I'm thinking I'm going to do these shelves black because my accent curtains that I have to kind of block off rooms when it gets real cold is black, but everything else is going to be, an antique white. I had started painting the cabinets, and I need to retouch up them, but look at this counter space. It may not look like a lot to anybody, but let me tell you, that is counter space that I did not have, and I'm a happy woman about that. I took some chicken out. I'm going to try to make some kind of chicken later on. I've been eating later. I started working on the ceiling. I got that one spot back there that I need to fix. I got some kills. I got some mud. I really would like to wallpaper this ceiling. I've done it before. It's not that hard. It's just very time consuming, and when you are 5 foot, you need the proper ladder and to be able to maneuver around. I loved wallpaper. I was the assistant manager, oh my God, a million years ago for our wallpaper store, Wallpapers to Go, when St. Louis had wallpapers and a paint store. I think now we just have Sherwood Williams store, and you just can go to Lowe's or wherever to get your paint and wallpaper. But anyway, so that's that part of the kitchen. Now, and I always end up having a cat on the table, and it kind of gets on my last nerve. Get. El gato, move. So that's that part. I got my other little studio there. Like I said, I have that curtain there. And then going into the dining room, I moved the butcher block there with the air fryer that the kid uses more than I do. But so the baker's rack. And of course I moved it by myself. I've moved a piano by myself. So, I'm like, can I do this without knocking it over? Okay, so the baker's rack, I got it all organized. Kind of get a better angle here. So I got all that organized because the plan is going to be, while I am home and have all this downtime, I'm going to start content creating, be more in the kitchen, creating more recipes and more baking. I want to bake some bread. I haven't done that in a while. Got to watch how my money's going to stretch over the next 3 months. The banquet place that I lend my hand, they are remodeling and literally going to be shut down February and March, but I believe I can lend my hand at their Airbnb, which I will do, when applicable. I got a lot to think about over, at least through this month. I can coast through January and I'll be fine. And I'm used to this. You're up and then all of a sudden you're down, and you go from having everything all figured out and, flow, and then all of a sudden it's ebb. But I will figure it out. I will absolutely figure it out. But that is my plan. But I needed to touch base because it had been a while, Got a lot to think about. I just can't get in the mood to paint. I can't get in the mood to sew. Car's okay. Nothing earth-shattering, with that. Knock on whatever. Got the blinker light fixed last week. I'll go to the grocery store tomorrow, and this is the other thing. I'll get back into the habit of grocery shopping every 2.5 weeks. I will meal plan, and I will stretch money as much as I possibly can. I don't know, I think that's about it, but I did want to touch base, just kind of say hi. In the last month or so, I have new subscribers. Thank you very, very much. And I didn't say who I was because now I'm waiting to the very end. I did send an inquiry to an independent bookstore in St. Charles to see if they would be interested in carrying the book that I wrote, When He Had Her, which is available on Amazon. It's a psych thriller. It's an easy read. You'll get through it in a couple hours. It's a novella. But anyway, I'm Kitryn Marie, an artist, writer, speaker, life, and a business coach. Going to have a lot of downtime. I would love to hear from you. I want to know what the weather is doing and what do you do when you are cocooning. If you're not working, if you're, got the downtime from your job and the weather then is going to change. How are you holding out? What are you hoping for? And as in terms of a storm is coming in our outside atmosphere, where are you at with all of it? How are you thinking? How are you believing? How are you feeling? Is it too much information? You have control. You have the remote. Shut it off. Go within. See what you can do to get yourself centered and aligned and balanced, in peace, have harmony within your home, within yourself. Cook yourself a good meal. Take care of yourself. And that's the whole goal for 2026. Pay attention to your body. Pay attention to your triggers. It's nobody's responsibility to fix your triggers but you. But, as usual, for today, for tomorrow, be happy, be blessed, be thankful for everything. Remember, fate turns on a dime. It is up to you to decide what side of that coin you want to be on. Grab yourself a good cup of coffee. Organize things in your kitchen that is going to make your life work better for you. Change up the angles, change up the view, clean, organize, paint. Fate turns on that dime. You decide what side of that coin you want to be on. Take care. See you soon. And by all means, email kitrynmarie@gmail.com. Leave a comment below. Take care.